Bienvenidos a este programa.
Bienvenidos.
It's Copa America, so I figured that for all the viewers out there, maybe we should start doing these in Spanish and English. Roy, what do you think about that?
I think we'd get more views if it were in Spanish, that's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, to all you out there, welcome to the ISB podcast. I'm your host, Sahil. I'm here with Roycito, and we are covering Copa America. We are at day 2, an exciting match between Peru and Chile, and it was especially exciting, Roy, if you like, boxing, because this was a little rough.
Are you a fan of UFC? Are you a fan of boxing? Then come on down to Copa America. Chile versus Peru had 37 fouls. Is that a record? That's got to be some kind of Copa America record. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not, because of what I said in the last video where we talked about predictions in this group. This group is a war. Yeah. I can't put it any other way. I think an American viewer who hasn't been involved in Latin American soccer, it's hard to imagine that a soccer game can be filled with so much tension, so much hatred, so much animosity, but that's these games. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. And it's due to soccer history. It's due to other types of history. And this was one of those matches, man.
It was intense.
Peru is as crazy as it gets.
It was intense. And we'll talk more about that in a second. But just a little bit about the match. I thought Chile had a very bright start. And then, you know what, Roy? I know you're a proud Peruvian there, if anyone can't tell by his jersey right there. But I thought, in the second half, I actually thought Peru did a lot better and actually was dominant for a little while.
Yeah, I thought most of the first half, it looked like it would be Chile's game. There was a point blank miss by Alexis Sanchez in the opening minutes. That was absolutely shocking. But Alexis Sanchez isn't the Alexis Sanchez of 7 years ago. It's
no, but before we move on, I want to say something about Alexis Sanchez. That guy has some kind of energy, because he's been like this his whole career, and even now at 35, he was motoring at the very end. All the other players were like looking around and like tired. This guy was still going on. I was like, this guy's a beast. But anyway, so continue.
I wish I was in that shape, man. I go and play pickup for 30 minutes and I'm dead for the next 7 days. But this guy's 35, and he looked like the youngest player on the field, which isn't saying too much, because these are two very old teams, man. These are super old. Look at Claudio Bravo. Is he 41?
Yeah, Claudio Bravo and Guerrero combined.
Guerrero's a 40-year-old forward. Are you kidding me? And he came into the match 40 years old, and he's playing for his national team, Peru, in a Copa America. That is insanity, and it gives you an idea of the struggle, specifically Peru, but Chile on a lesser scale, the struggle with the generational shift of talent. Peru hasn't seen it. They haven't seen that generational shift. They're still playing people like Guerrero. They're still hoping Flores comes and contributes. They're relying on players like Andy Polo, who was kicked out of the Portland Timbers. Isn't that great of a player? But these are the people running their attack. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Okay, so back to the match. What did you think? Second half, better?
I thought it was better. I thought it was more UFC than soccer match, but it was very tense. Yeah. It was, from an attacking creativity perspective, there was none. Yeah, there was none. It reminded me of Berhalter's USA on a bad day. Not as messy. It was clean from a passing perspective, but in terms of creativity and creating chances, Peru struggled big time. Chile struggled big time. Yeah. In that sense, it wasn't a great match to watch. But
I would say both teams, it's very interesting, because both teams would do some great buildup until they reached the box, and then it just turned into a disaster over there. Like players looking at each other, like making the bad pass, making the wrong ball. It was strange, because there was some beautiful stuff happening in the midfield buildup, right? And these players, I mean, Roy, you know them. You know how technically good the Chile players are, as well as Peru. This is fantastic players. It's just at the end product's not there in the box.
Yep, the end product is not there. And Peru in particular is a team that struggles mightily with scoring goals. It's, if you look at their past 10 games, you see a lot of Bolivia, Peru, 2-0. Peru, no goals. Peru, El Salvador, they scored 1. Peru, Paraguay, 0-0. Peru, Chile today, 0-0. I mean, there's a lot of 0. They lost to Chile 2-0 a few months ago as well. Lost to Argentina 2-0. Lost to Brazil 1-0. Paraguay, it's all zeros, man. They don't score many goals. And I think that's going to continue for the rest of the tournament. I'm worried about Peru, Canada. That's what I'm worried about.
Interesting. So let's see. This one's in the book, 0-0 for both teams. So who do you think's happier after this match?
I think Canada is licking their chops, man. I think they're the happiest team here. I think Peru came out of this game realizing we need to figure out how to score a dang goal, because that we weren't even close. There was one play by La Padula where he kind of flicks it over his head and goes for a half scissor kick, and that would have been the most incredible goal of the first 2 game days in Copa America, but it just didn't happen, and that was maybe the most creative thing. So I think Canada is the one that feels like a winner today, because they just saw 2 teams that are very, very beatable and aren't very dangerous.
No, but I just don't know how Canada is going to deal with this physicality, because that's one thing that they're going to be in for something. Like, if you think this is going to be a cakewalk, it ain't happening, boys.
I don't know if either team is going to be as physical against Canada.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Really?
I think this had to do with the rivalry. They'll be physical with Argentina. Chile will be. I don't know about Peru. But against Canada, there's no rivalry. There's no animosity. There's no big war on the field. It's against the nice Canadians. And I don't suspect it'll be as violent. No.
I think the refs in Copa America, if there's anything that has said anything, you got to be careful, because this could get out of hand very quickly.
It almost did. How many injuries were there, man?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a war out there. And Copa America, for those of you, who are watching the Euros, and obviously, we're doing Euro coverage as well. If you want to see some real hard hitting stuff, for those of you who like UFC, boxing and stuff, come to Copa America, because this is the real deal.
If you like NFL too, just this is the tournament to watch. Euro is a bit more, depends who's playing, but overall a bit higher quality, a bit more polished. But Copa America's a war. It's simply going to be more intense. It's going to be a lot more fouls, a lot more passion and emotion in the stands and on the field. You're going to feel it.
Yeah, for sure. And to the global viewers out there, so, buena suerte for your team if one of your teams was Chile or Peru. All right, Roy. So what's next up for this group? What do you think? Canada looking good?
Canada looked good against Argentina. I feel good about Jesse Marsch, man. I feel good about his tactical system. He showed that he could shift it, whereas we didn't see that with Leeds. We didn't see that with Leipzig. He was a one-trick pony, and it's what ended up damning him in Europe. But he showed against Argentina he could try a mid-block, and he could do it quite well, and he could get his players in the right positions. And I think he's going to go all out, his signature high press, high intensity style against Peru. And I think he's going to win this game. I think Canada's going to get through.
We shall see. And that's from Group A, Grupo A. Now on to Group B tomorrow. Some exciting matchups, some really exciting, the Mexico, Jamaica. That's some very, very interesting stuff. And of course, Ecuador and Venezuela. So let's see how it all goes. So keep watching Copa America. Vamos Copa America. And we will see you all tomorrow.
Vamos Copa America. I like that. That's good.